Canada's bold energy shift, a strategic move or diplomatic negotiation. Canada is charting a new course in response to the high tariffs imposed.
Canada's defense minister said today Ottawa is prepared to contribute peacekeepers to protect Ukraine's border with Russia should there be a ceasefire.
President Trump has paused 25% tariffs on U.S. imports from Mexico and Canada.
Recently, when U.S. President Donald Trump imposed and then suspended tariffs on all Canadian products.
After Canada was given a pause on tariffs for most sectors, now there's a new threat from the U.S. president.
Posed by the United States. Despite North America's strong trade ties, Ottawa is now seriously considering energy cooperation with Europe and Asia, leveraging its access to both the Atlantic and Pacific markets. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's firm stance, "We will not bow to impositions," signals a potential transformation in Canada's economic strategy, one that could redefine its traditional energy trade balance. By diversifying its crude oil and liquefied natural gas (LNG) exports, Canada is not only alarming American refiners, but also generating enthusiasm in Brussels and Tokyo. If new LNG terminals are established on the Atlantic coast and projects like the Trans Mountain Pipeline to the Pacific are realized, Washington's protectionist policies could backfire. With Canada currently exporting 3.7 million barrels of oil per day, primarily to the U.S., the debate over alternative pipelines is gaining momentum in Alberta's provincial assembly. Meanwhile, the European Union, eager to reduce its reliance on Russian energy, is welcoming Canada's interest in a transatlantic energy partnership. Despite years of investment in American trade relations, Canadian leaders now stress the importance of economic independence. If America closes one door, we will open another, a turning point in Canada's energy policy. Canadian Finance Minister Chrystia Freeland recently emphasized that if U.S. tariffs persist, Canada has other options that include strengthening ties with Europe and expanding its energy exports to Asia. This shift aligns with Canada's long-standing economic relationship with the EU, its second-largest global trading partner after the U.S. Under the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA, and the Strategic Partnership Agreement, SPA, Canada and the EU have built a strong foundation for cooperation in trade, investment, and energy security. Energy is becoming an increasingly significant factor in this relationship. Through the high-level energy dialogue, Canada and the EU discuss key energy issues such as market transparency, sustainability, and a clean energy transition. According to a 2023 report by Canada's Department of Natural Resources, Canada has the potential to become a reliable energy supplier to the EU, particularly in LNG and conventional crude oil. For decades, 90% of Canada's crude oil exports have gone to U.S. refineries. However, recent tariffs on steel, aluminum, and even energy imports have increased costs, making Ottawa rethink its dependency on a single market. The Canadian Explorers and Producers Association argues that this moment presents a clear and urgent need to build more natural resource infrastructure, including retaliatory pipelines to new markets. Alberta's pipeline debate, a shift toward Europe and Asia? On March 1st, 2025, Alberta's Provincial Assembly discussed potential major pipeline projects aimed at exporting oil and gas to Europe and Asia. State President Danielle Smith remarked, "We once relied on Keystone XL. Now, we must open up the European Union and Asia with new terminal projects in the Atlantic and Pacific." A key project under consideration is a liquefied natural gas facility on Canada's east coast. With the EU actively seeking alternative energy sources due to tensions with Russia, Canada is positioning itself as a viable supplier. A March 2nd, 2025 report from Canada's Department of Natural Resources stated that a new LNG terminal could export over 10 billion cubic meters of natural gas per year to the EU by 2026. Talks between Ottawa and Brussels are already underway to accelerate this project. Similarly, Canada's Trans Mountain Expansion Project aims to transport crude oil to the Pacific for export to Japan, South Korea, and other Asian countries. By February 2025, 70% of the project was complete, according to project manager Ian Anderson. Should U.S. tariffs become permanent, Canada could shift its focus to Asian contracts, offering Japan and South Korea a stable supply of heavy-grade crude oil. A strategic shift or a diplomatic bargaining chip. Is Canada truly prepared to move away from its trade reliance on the U.S., or is this merely a negotiation tactic? while building new pipelines, securing environmental approvals, and establishing LNG terminals are long-term processes. The growing public sentiment in Canada suggests a strong willingness to pursue alternative markets if tariffs persist. For now, the United States remains Canada's largest trading partner, but if tariffs remain in place for the next 3 to 5 years, Canada's adaptation to alternative markets will become more feasible. In a March 1st parliamentary session, Prime Minister Trudeau stated, "If the United States jeopardizes our trade partnership, we will be forced to expand our energy cooperation with friendly nations, particularly in Europe." His words reflect a broader shift toward multilateral energy policies and new pipeline developments. However, when questioned by opposition MPs about whether Canada is abandoning the U.S., Trudeau refrained from giving a direct answer, instead reiterating that diversification is key to trade security. How will the U.S. respond? As Canada accelerates discussions with Europe and Asia, American refiners are beginning to worry. With limited alternative sources for heavy crude oil, some U.S. lobbyists are now pressuring the White House to reconsider tariffs. However, President Donald Trump remains firm in his stance. Tariffs work. No concessions for anyone. Trade analysts predict that in the medium term, Canada will indeed diversify its energy exports, though completing new pipelines and infrastructure will take time. If U.S. tariffs remain unchanged, Canada's energy shift could be complete within 5 years, a relatively short period in global trade terms. This ongoing debate raises a critical question. Is Canada's pivot toward Europe and Asia a genuine strategic transformation or a warning shot to the U.S.? As tensions escalate, headlines in the near future may read, Canada becomes Europe's biggest energy supplier. U.S. backtracks on tariffs to keep Canadian oil. Whatever the outcome, it is clear that Canada is positioning itself for a major energy transformation, one that could reshape North America's trade landscape for decades to come. What do you think? Is Canada truly prepared to cut ties with the U.S., or is this a diplomatic dance to secure better terms? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth discussions on Canada's energy future. Goodbye for now, and thanks for watching.